In this video, I'm going to give my real-world review of the Google Pixel Slate. Check it out. At this point, I don't feel the need to go over specs. This has been out for so long that I'm sure you've seen plenty of videos that talk about the specifications of this. For my review though, I should let you know that I'm using the Core i5 with 8 gigs of RAM. So let's jump into it. I've been using this Slate for about 3 weeks now, and overall I have to say I'm really happy with it. So just what is it about this setup that makes it so special? Well, let's start with the keyboard. I'm using Google's version of the keyboard. This is the Pixel Slate keyboard. Has the round keys that are backlit with the built-in trackpad, and it's a folio style case that goes around the Slate. Has magnets on the back that allow it to be adjusted to whatever angle you'd like, or can be completely flipped around for a tablet mode, or easily detached to go into a full-on tablet mode. And all this is connected by magnets and some type of pogo style pins. Allows for a really responsive feedback, and I have to say this keyboard is phenomenal. The low profile of the main deck of the keyboard makes it very comfortable to type on, and just the clickiness of the keys. And I didn't think that I was going to like the round keys, but after using it for a little while, I absolutely love it. Now it makes other keyboards kind of feel cheap, honestly. It's really hard to explain, but after you use it for a little bit, you just realize how great the keyboard is. And I really couldn't be happier with the keyboard experience. The one gripe that I have about this case is the material that it's made out of picks up dirt really easily, and the color of this keyboard and the case just makes things like dust or dirt kind of really stand out, in my opinion. But I will say it's surprisingly easy to clean. I actually had some kind of sugary thing or something on the table, and it picked that up, so it got a little sticky, and I thought that it was ruined, but with some warm water and a rag, I just wiped it right off, and it looks brand new. Now, moving on to pen support. One of the main reasons I wanted the Slate was to be able to use the Pixel pen. After trying a stylus on the X360 that I was using, I really thought that stylus support on Chromebooks was a bust. I thought that there's no chance any Chromebook is going to be able to fix this problem. It was such a terrible experience on the X360, I kind of gave up on the idea, and the reason I got the Slate is I wanted to give it one more shot. And I have to say I'm pretty happy with the pen support on it, honestly. After putting it through the test, the pressure sensitivity and the angle detection seemed very precise. There wasn't very much lag. With other stylus, whenever you would draw a straight line, it would be like broken up. It would be almost like a dotted line, or it wouldn't form like a complete circle. Like you would draw a circle on the screen and it wouldn't actually connect. But with the Pixel Slate, I do not have that issue. The pen support is very, very good. I would say that it's pretty much on the same level as the Apple Pencil and the iPad. I personally used to have an iPad with the Apple Pencil, the first gen, and I love that. And this gives me that same kind of feeling. It's very satisfying. Writing on the screen, very nice drag, little lag, no real complaints with the pen at all, aside for there's nowhere to put it. Had the same problem with the first generation Apple Pencil. There's nowhere to actually stick it on the device. So right now, I have it at my desk, and anytime I take the Slate, I forget the pen, or if I have the pen with me, it's falling down in the couch cushions, if I'm using it on the couch or whatever. So that is one problem that I have with that. Not a deal breaker, but it would have been nice if they would have had, at least built into the case, a way to dock the pen. I would have probably used it a lot more, whereas now I have to have a specific use case for it, like editing a thumbnail, or maybe I just want to sit down and draw. I know for sure I'm going to use the pen, I'll grab it. If I had it on the device, I would probably use it just as my navigation tool, honestly. But the pen is well done. Now, moving on to the main device, the Slate itself. This is a very well-built machine. Now, this is a 4K 12.3 inch display, and it is absolutely fantastic. I was a little worried that I wouldn't like the 2:3 ratio and that the 12.3 inch size was going to be a little small compared to the X360, which used the 14 inch screen. I thought that I was going to think that this was like too small to use, and I have a 10 inch Samsung tablet, and I was like, well, it's probably not going to be a lot different than that, but honestly, this is the perfect size for me. Couldn't be happier with the size. The 14 inch now seems a little clunky. The tab seems really small, and this is right in the Goldilocks zone. The 2:3 aspect ratio doesn't bother me at all. It actually makes watching like YouTube videos more enjoyable. So whenever you go to YouTube, say, and you see like the video to the left, and then you have other suggested videos to the right, it just seems more balanced whenever you're watching something like that. And watching movies on it is fantastic. Of course, you do get the black bars on the top or bottom, but honestly, it doesn't take away from the experience at all. The colors on this screen are vibrant, crisp images. I mean, there's really no complaints with the screen. I don't know that you're going to find any better on a Chromebook, honestly. Now, on either side of the screen, you have front-facing speakers, and it's hard to really explain audio without actually hearing it. The speakers, I'm sure you've seen in other videos, people say the same thing, but the speakers are just awesome. They really are. They have a deep richness that I've not really experienced on any other type of laptop or mobile device whatsoever. And having that audio experience is it just adds to the overall experience of the device. I mean, it's so hard to explain the audio, and don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to really like overhype the speakers on this, but they are the best speakers that I've heard on any type of laptop before. And the separation, having them on the left and right, and they're facing right at you, it really gives you that immersive experience. Like if you're watching a video and something's happening on the right side of the screen, you distinctly hear it on the right side, and say it travels across the screen, you really get that immersion as the audio pans. So I couldn't be happier with the speakers either. Also, the loudness of the speakers, I have no complaints on that either. The speakers get plenty loud enough where I'm not having to keep it at max volume. Now, of course, depending on the video content or the audio levels in the video, you might have to max it out, but you're going to find that with pretty much anything. So, moving on to the cameras on this. Cameras on these types of devices are never great, and that's not really an exception here. There are 2 megapixel cameras, one on the front, one on the rear, neither of which have any kind of flash, and they're just kind of okay, really. They're nothing special. They're not the worst cameras I've seen, but they are definitely just average. And I will throw some pictures up here just so you can have some samples of just the image quality of the pictures, in case that's something that maybe you're interested in using it for. I don't imagine that you would buy a Chromebook for that, but it's here if you want to use it. Now, the ports on this device are pretty slim. You get only 2 USB-C ports. They're not Thunderbolt ports, and you don't get a headphone jack. And that's something that I thought was really going to bother me, not having the headphone jack. Honestly, I have a pair of USB-C headphones, and I have plenty of Bluetooth headphones, and I have no real complaints there. The lack of ports adds to this device. I know that's crazy, but having only the 2 ports adds such a sleek design and feel to the device. I actually prefer only having 2 ports now. It does charge USB-C, so it can charge from either side. I love that feature, and I've not ran into a situation to where I've honestly wanted more ports. I do have a USB-C dock, like a hub that offers other ports if needed, but I have not connected it to my Chromebook one time. The 2 USB-C ports are plenty. So having said all that, what about actual use? Day-to-day use? Now, I consider myself to be a little more aggressive with Chromebook use than an average user would. I'm using it for video like creation, editing, spreadsheets, docs, media consumption. I mean, pretty much all of my entertainment needs are coming from this Chromebook. So I'm really putting it to the paces compared to like an average person who just wants to browse the web. So I think my use case might be a little bit different than other people's. I will say this. Again, this is the i5, 8 gig of RAM. The X360 Chromebook that I had been using was an i3 with 8 gig of RAM. I can't say that there's a distinct difference in performance between the two. So if you are maybe working with a budget and you feel like that maybe the i3 won't be as good, I wouldn't worry about it. Go with the i3 model. I can't say that there is enough difference in performance between the i3 and the i5 that it really matters. I went with the i5 thinking that I was going to have better rendering times for my videos, and that just wasn't the case. I can't say that there's any like significant difference between those two processors, but as far as the day-to-day use on my Pixel Slate, I have no complaints. It gets all the tasks done that I need to use it for. I will say that it gets hot, like when I'm using it for like drawing or editing video. You can feel in the center of the screen that a lot of heat is generated. Now that's noticeable, especially if you're using like a drawing app and you have your hand resting on the screen. You're going to feel that heat, but it's not anything that is necessarily negative. It's just something that I noticed. The feel in the hand is good. It's lightweight. I pretty much keep it though docked to the keyboard. Even when I'm drawing, I'll just flip the keyboard around and draw on it that way. I actually prefer to have the keyboard attached. One thing that I did notice from time to time is the Wi-Fi seemed to disconnect after it goes into standby mode and you come back to it. Multiple times I've had YouTube open, walked away from the device, came back maybe an hour later, and it would say that I'm offline. But after the device is woken up, after a few seconds, it kicks back in. I can't say if that's device specific or if it's a common issue amongst Pixel Slates, but it is something that I ran into. And that brings us to the big question. Is the Pixel Slate worth buying in 2020? I have to say yes. I got this on sale almost at half price, the whole setup. The Pixel Slate with the keyboard and the pen. All together, I think I spent like $650. Normally, that would have been about a $1,500 setup. Is it worth it at the $1,500 price tag? I don't think so. Not in 2020. But if you could find this at a good deal, like half price, like I did, or heck, even $1,000 for the complete setup, I feel like it's worth it. Now keep in mind that this year is kind of a big year for Chromebooks going forward. You're going to have the Samsung Galaxy Chromebook and a lot of other like new setups that supposedly are going to be able to perform better. But as of right now, with what you have to choose from, I can't recommend any other type of Chromebook for anybody. It is pricey. Just remember, you get what you pay for. You buy a cheap Chromebook, you might have a bad experience. This Chromebook is so hard to describe. Just using it on a daily basis, it makes me happy, honestly. It's such a nice experience. The keyboard is super nice. The trackpad is really responsive. You have to really touch the keypad or the trackpad to get a click. I like that. Using it in your lap, maybe not ideal just because of how deep that the Folio keyboard goes. So if you're short, you may have a hard time depending on the length of your leg using it in your lap. But honestly, that's not something that I ever really do, is using a laptop in my lap, really. I have almost nothing negative to say about this. So if you're considering buying it and you're a little hesitant thinking that you may not like it, or maybe it's not going to perform well. I know there's a lot of negative reviews that came out when this device first was released. I can't speak on that. I can't tell you that it's always been great, but all I can say is what matters now. And I have not had a real negative experience with this at all. Yes, I use it heavily. There has been times where I've caused it to crash, depending on the app I use. I've been able to get it to crash, but again, I'm a heavy user. I'm really putting it like maxed out on gaming or video editing and stuff like that. It's expected. It's going to happen. It would probably happen on a Windows PC actually. So I can't fault the Chromebook for that. Again, 2020, is it worth it? I do think so. So thanks for watching. If you like what you saw, give me a thumbs up. If you want to get more videos that are centered around Chromebooks or tech, go ahead and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.